And I'd like to introduce you now to Gary Ben, the manager.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to our very special Classics at the Cottage screening of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. It's perhaps one of Hitchcock's most famous films, but before the film was released in 1960, there were doubts. Paramount were reluctant to finance it, as they viewed it, as I quote, a sleazy horror film. And they were certain that it would be a commercial failure. Well, we've certainly proved them wrong this evening. So tonight's showing is a very special show for us. It's a 35mm performance. So 15 years ago, virtually every screening that you would have seen in a cinema would have been from 35mm, and something which is really a rarity now. So in 2013, we converted our projection to digital, and every film since, apart from the odd handful, has been a digital performance. When we converted just over 11 years ago, we were very lucky that we had space in our projection room that we could keep one of our two 35mm projectors so we could do events such as this. And I believe now that we are one of only two venues in the city that can do what we're about to do tonight. For those that aren't familiar with 35mm and wondering what on earth I'm talking about, this is 35mm. So this is 24 frames, it's 1.5 feet, and it's 1 second. So this is what's going through the projector every single second of tonight's show. But before I go into too much detail, I want to hand you over to Steve. Now, Steve started working at Cottage Road as a part-time projectionist, actually the year I was born, 36 years ago. So please welcome to the stage tonight our projectionist. So clearly you're not on stage, Steve. So what's happening?
Well, I'm stood in the room at the back. I'm looking towards the screen behind you. I'm waving out the window. You probably can't see me, but I'm in the projection room here at the back of the cinema, stood between the 35mm projector, which I'll give you a more close-up in a second, and the digital projector, about to show you a screening of Casablanca, and you'll have to bear with me a second because I just lost my little headset, so I can't hear what Gary's asking me. I have a big
It'll be all right on the night.
if it's anything technical, it's bound to go wrong when it's live, isn't it? Right, I can hear you again, Gary.
Okay, so 36 years, Steve, it's quite an achievement. What changes have you seen up in the projection room in that time?
Well, I mean, the biggest change is that I spend very little time in the projection room these days, but when I started here 36 years ago, the film obviously was on film, not digital, and the projectionist stayed in the projection room all night, switching between two projectors to keep the show going. Now, let's try this technical advance. I'm going to put a picture on the screen. This is Cottage Road projection room with its machines. Just before I started here, and what Gary mentioned is we used to have two machines in here. This is the model. Strange story here, Projector was a very famous projector company that used to make projectors here in Leeds. So, of course, ours are from the land. But there you go. So, yeah, two projectors, and then I'd sit here changing between the two reels, each projector playing about an hour's worth of film. Advances then in technology came along, stereo sound, because we were only mono when I started working here. There's a photo of me in the mid-90s installing Dolby Digital sound in this very projection room. And my final little slide there, however many years above this, 30 years beyond the right at the age of 18, and more recently now in the projection room. So it's changed a lot, my hair's changed. I've probably got a bit older and fatter, but yeah, right, come back to me in here live.
So we've been using digital projection now for 11 years, and I was lucky enough to be trained in both 35mm and digital. There are clearly pros and cons of both formats. Steve, do you miss the old days?
I miss the old days. It's obviously what I started. There's something about the sound and the feel of the projector running, which we'll hopefully show you in a few moments on the screen. Sort of tactile, the image on screen, it felt more real. It's prone to a lot more flickers and potential film snaps than digital. The alternative though, digital, it's a lot easier for me in effect, because I'll show you in a moment some film reels, but for film you have to splice with a splicer the whole film together and send it away at the end of the week. Now it comes in on a hard drive or sent in from the film company's direct to a server. So it's a lot easier, but it allows a lot more dynamic programming than digital, because we can get the live broadcast from London. But yeah, there's always a place in my heart for film, and I think anybody who's probably worked in cinema a long time, and I think the projectionist prefers these reels of film.
Okay, so Steve, I've just shown our audience a 1-second strip of an old trailer. We could just about see tonight's film behind you, or in front of you.
My camera a little bit more.
Can you tell us a bit about tonight's print?
So, yeah, here's half of the film, and you can see the size of the reel. It's as big as me. So, the film, duration, running time. I mean, Gary obviously mentioned that. I'm going to say 18 inches that you have in his hand, whatever that is in real money. So the film, yeah, it lasts 6,600 seconds, and that's how 158,000 frames of film we're going to go through tonight. That's about 10,000 feet or 3 kilometres of film for this copy. For those of you who know it, the film would stretch from here to Waitrose in Meanwood.
I think we're just going to. I think you're just going to tell us a bit about getting the film started and go with the film, I think, can we?
Right.
Just before we do, as a special treat to mark this occasion, we've prepared an old trailer, which at the intermission today we'll be doing an ice cream tray. We're going to put this old trailer on the stage, and we'll have some scissors, and you can cut a bit off to take home as a little souvenir. So, Steve, show us what's going on and how you're going to start the film. And from me, enjoy the film.
The films came on reels like this. That's about 20 minutes of film. There's 6 of these reels spliced together on these big reels at the side. You've just watched the adverts on this projector. Change your camera. So this is where the adverts have just been playing through onto your screen. And I'm going to take off this advert. Very second. So, in a moment, I'm about to thread up the film from this reel at the back. This is where I will require 2 hands. Thread it through the machine, and I will start it playing down. Fingers crossed that an old copy of film doesn't snap on us. But if it does, we do have our splicer to splice it back together. It's an old print, so do bear in mind, things can break. So, in a moment, I'll thread up the film. You can watch me threading it up. I'll start it running down. What I will project on screen is the bit you wouldn't normally see as an audience, the famous countdown leaders you see, which are based from film, 10, 9, 8, 7, while still projecting the projector, the image of the projector on the screen from the digital projector. You'll just get to see an overlay of what's going off in the back here, and just before Psycho itself starts, the certificate comes on screen. I will cut my audio, I'll cut the camera feed from here so you can actually concentrate on the film. So just bear with me for 2 or 3 minutes while I show you me threading the film up. So this would have gone off every night in every cinema around the world for 100 years until the advent of digital. The person in the back threading up their projector. Right, so the film is now coming across from the big play-off device, film tower at the back, to the projector. I just need to wrap it around through these sprockets. I'll switch back to, my head will probably get in the way quite a bit during this. So the film's coming through here, the light in a second is going to shine through that plate there. I won't leave it too open too long while the film's stationary. Round the sound head, and then back across the room to this big take-up device at the back of the room. So I shall be ready to start it rolling. So at this point, because my hands are going to be tied up and lots of buttons to press, such as turning lights off, I'm going to turn the mic off. So, as they say on a flight, sit back, relax and enjoy it, and if the film snaps, you'll just have to watch me re-splice it back together. Right, I'm going to say goodbye to you for now.